Hello, my people. Today we are looking at many problems that are facing Africa. But today, sometimes when we talk about problems in Africa, people talk a little about solution to this problem. But today, I'm gonna look at solution. I'm gonna profile one solution I see that might help Africa, because sometimes we are looking for a solution where there's no solution. You know what I mean? And today I'm gonna highlight one solution I think that Africa should try, because sometimes we don't even look at this. We don't look at things this way. Sometimes you should people should go outside the box and think, and that's what this video is all about. Go outside the box and they have a little bit of thinking. So today, we have, as Africa is today, most of the structures we have in Africa is imposed on us by our colonial masters. This is obvious, and there's no point of stating the obvious. You know what I mean? The reality today is that most of the countries we have in Africa, the names, even the boundaries, we are all carried out by our colonial masters. It's not Africa didn't create these boundaries. Most of them, it doesn't come from Africa. They just impose this structure on us. And when people are talking about problems in Africa, like corruption, stuff like that, all this stuff, I understand that Africa have problems, but we can't keep talking about problems without keeping talking about the structure, how to solve this problem. And one problem, I think, one solution I think that can happen in Africa is like, let's undo what the colonizer did. Because sometimes we have infighting in Africa today. A lot of places or countries in Africa today are fighting. It's like we have internal war, like an everlasting war in Africa. There's never a time if you go to Sudan, you hear about war there. Somalia, Nigeria, anywhere you look in Africa, Mali, Burkina Faso, there's people fighting in Africa. It shows that the structure we have there, we have to look at it again. We have to take a look at the structure we have in Africa, because sometimes I think maybe our problem might be structural problems. You know what I mean? Not like if we can change stuff structurally, it might help the problem. I'm not saying it's going to solve all the problems, because a new problem is going to come up, but it might help to reduce the problems we have in Africa. Because the structure we have in Africa today is being imposed by us in Africa. You know what I mean? We have to look at it, at a structure, how to restructure Africa. I'm not talking about, people think like I'm talking about country restructuring themselves, but I'm talking about if countries, even breaking up into different parts of the countries, having new countries, if it's going to help solve the problem, even if it doesn't help solve the problem, it's going to help localize the problem, so that people, if people becomes, even if they're small countries, like we have in Europe, there's some countries in Europe that are just not even up to 1 million people, but they are a country. And you see that their problem now is localized. They can solve it. When you localize the problem, you can solve it. This is experience tells you as well, because even in problem findings, you try to localize it. When you are looking for trying to solve a problem, you try to localize it, and that's the solution I'm thinking about. If it means to restructure the whole African countries and come up with many countries, and simple like localize, make Africa like break it up into little countries. It might solve this problem of it might localize the problem, and people can be able to take their own life destiny into their hands instead of all this amalgamation we have in Africa. You know, it's just our colonial master, they don't care. They just bring different tribes, you know, from east and west, and you know, they don't see if they have cultural. These people can stay together, live together as one. They don't care because for them it's convenient for the colonial masters to have this country so that they can put their representative there and be able to control people because it's all about control. You know what I mean? And today we see that big structures come with big problems. You know what I mean? And this problem with big structures, it doesn't get solved because what's happened is that this problem keep keep resurfacing all the time. You can solve it. And people don't look at it this way, but this is where I'm looking at it. I might be wrong, but you know, but if the structure we have now is not working, why can't we try new things? You know what I mean? Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our video. Peace.